Shark's rescue. Hey, Tokyo's everything.
Cool. Hey guys, what's going on? Here to sit and chat about some nostalgic stuff, maybe some recent pickups and things like that. I have like a little bit of a topic list. We're coming into summer now, so I wanted to talk about super soakers, some pool floats from the 90's. Oh, some arcade stuff because that's what I really enjoy. We'll go through a few things, but let's kick it off with some show and tell. I actually got some pretty cool things recently, and some really rare tapes. Two rare tapes that were kind of like holy grails for me. And well, let's just start going because you guys will see. So this first batch was from a thrift store that I went to recently, and I picked up a gold member. Not one of the best Austin Powers, but I have it on DVD, and I know it's like a later film, like getting close to when VHSs were being phased out and DVDs were taking over. So I have the other two Austin Power movies on VHS, so it makes sense to have this to complete them. But also just kind of cool to have like later in life film. I mean, so it's 2002, so there was still like 4 years after this, but still really cool. And I loved the movie when it came out. I was a bit younger. I've gone back and watched it a few times, and it's definitely not as good as the other two entries, but still a fun film. I'm glad to have it. My Cousin Vinny. I never realized that that's Marissa Tomei in it. Like, I only knew her as Aunt May, and I never connected the dots in all the other movies that she was in. So this is always a fun movie to go back and watch. It's a favorite for my wife. I have a shelf dedicated to just movies that she likes. So when I saw this, I was like, I gotta pick it up, add it to her shelf, because it's one of her all-time favorites. That's kind of something new that not new, I've been doing it for a few months now, but I want to have like dedicated shelves for like my friends and family. So, I get to share the joy of my hobby with them, and they get to experience it a little bit, and they can kind of pick through my stash of VHS tapes, my ever-expanding collection, and kind of display what they like. And I don't know, I think that's really fun to see what people pull out and pick as their employee picks. So I think that was cool. So that's something I've been doing. How the Flintstones Saved Christmas. I didn't even really look yet. I have the Flintstone Christmas Carol tape. And I don't know, like when I was out that day, I was thinking about the Flintstones earlier, and I saw this, I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I picked it up. I'm not sure if it's the same episode or not on here, but regardless, it's really cool. I liked the Flintstones a lot when I was a kid. There's a VHS tape called A Haunted House Is Not a Home of Flintstones. I really want to find that one. I'll have to keep an eye out for it. And then I think I'm probably done with the Flintstones. I have the live action stuff, both movies, and maybe I could do one or two more tapes from them. I have a deep love for the Flintstones, and actually, I had bought it was a PLA release only for the PS2. I think it's called like Flintstones Bedrock Racing. I bought a PAL PS2 it's over there somewhere. I bought a PAL console to play it and everything. And I was actually before I did this, I I was actually looking because it came without a power cable, and without the power cable and without the AV cables, which isn't a problem, but it outputs, 50 hertz instead of 60 for our region. So I was like, there's got to be like power converters and video converters that I can run so I can actually play this thing, because I got this a year or two ago, I think, and I haven't even touched it. But I bought the games, I bought the console. Yeah, the Bedrock Racing, I had bought the Jackie Chan Adventure PS2 game. Or is it Jackie Chan Adventures, the cartoon?
Wait,
It's the PS2 game based on the cartoon. And there was another exclusive. Oh, the Mummy animated series had a PAL release only for that region. And like, man, I love that era of cartoons. That was like kind of like the last cartoons I watched before it was kind of aging out. But I want to get that PAL console hooked up, so I ordered this stuff. It should be here. I think it said Saturday. So that'll be cool. I want to play a little Flintstones, definitely play Jackie Chan, and check out the other games. I don't know if that PS2, where is it over there? It's Poochie is sitting on it. It's the slim one. So I don't know if that is gonna be able to play PS1 games, and I should have thought about that before I bought it, because there are PS1 PAL titles I want to get. Like, what is it? Extreme Ghostbusters. I want to get that for the PS1, even though it doesn't look great. I have an affinity for Extreme Ghostbusters. I talked about it in my Extreme Ghostbusters episode. Oh, well, Ghostbusters episode. Yeah, so I just want to play that game and have it for my collection. There's a couple other PAL titles I want to have. So this last tape I grabbed from the thrift store, Barbie dance workout, right? Dance workout with Barbie. I don't know if you guys can get a good shot of that. This is kind of like the Power Rangers workout tape that I did a video on with Jason David Frank, where you have the you have him teaching all these kids like karate moves and everything like that, and it's really about teaching kids to respect their parents and everything like that. And I'm assuming this Barbie tape is within the same vein of those Power Ranger tapes. It is kind of funny though. There's like a giant Barbie, like right in the middle of the class, like an inanimate Barbie. So I don't know if they like just have her staged there, or if it'd be funny if they do like some like really janky stop animation with her, like doing jumping jacks or something. I'm assuming it's probably not that, but I thought it was a cool tape. I mean, Barbie's cool, and yeah, so I figured why not pick it up. So that was the thrift store. Then I went to, there's this place, where is it? I think it's in like around the Lake Grove area where I live on Long Island, and it's called Retro Relics. Retro Relics. I said that weird. And they have some really cool stuff there. It's like kind of like a flea market type setup where a bunch of different vendors, but focuses a lot on toys, games, things like that. And there's other things there too with the different vendors, but that seems to be like their heavy focus. And they have some really cool stuff that comes through there. So I wasn't anticipating picking up anything. I went there specifically looking for the action figures for the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie. I wanted to try to see if I could find the action figures loose, and I didn't want to order it on eBay and pay the shipping. And there's happens to be a retro toy store right next door. I can't remember the name of it, but I figured, hey, I'll hit up this place while I'm over here and go, next door, check out the toy store, see if they have it. Neither of them had it, unfortunately. But there were some cool tapes there, so I ended up picking those up. And oh yeah, that's why I was in that area, because there's what is it called? 8-Bit Bytes, I think. They opened a location up in Center Reach. So I went over there. I forgot what we were doing, but we were in the area and we were like, oh, you know what? Let's stop, check out that new place. Tasty food and fun. They have like a bunch of gaming consoles set up, and you can just kind of hang out and have some burgers, fries, a shake, and play some games, which was fun. So it's all like emulation and stuff, but still really cool. I think it's like the 8-bit DOE controllers, and the decor inside is really fun. They have like a lit up floor and everything, so it's just a cool place to check out. But other than that, you know what, let me just turn that down a little bit. I'm getting blinded. So picked up some cool tapes. So Dragon Ball Z, they had a ton of these. I was tempted to get everything because they were, you know, $4, which is a fair price for Dragon Ball tapes, I found. And I was really tempted to just empty the shelf and take everything, but I didn't do that. So I grabbed this tape. I think it just looked cool. It has the car, you know, them racing in the car in the front of it. So that was really neat to me, or for me. Neat for me? Neat to me? I thought it was cool. So I picked it up, and yeah, I'll have it out on display somewhere. So my nephew is really getting into anime. He's was watching Dragon Ball Z, and he's into Naruto now. So maybe we could put this on and watch it together. Relive some old memories, because I haven't watched this since back when it was on, you know, Konami and Cartoon Network. So that was cool. Another tape, The Crow, which I've been meaning to pick this up on VHS for a while. I have City of Angels, but I wanted to get the OG. So finally got it, and like $5, which again, reasonably priced. Like when you hit up collectors for tapes or something like you know, whoever, that's pretty much what you would find. I think if you go on eBay and wanted to search for it, it would probably be a little bit more, but I thought these prices were really fair. Reservoir Dogs, that was pretty cool. $3, not bad, in pretty nice condition. Still has the shrink wrap on the outside, although the tape was cut open. I've been wanting to get the PS2 game that came out years back, and I never checked it out, but you guys know I do the thing where I buy the movie and buy the game together so I can curate everything. So yeah, I picked it up. I watched the movie too recently. Man, Steve Buscemi is such a good, like, his character is awesome in that, and you can really see how great of an actor he is in it. So good movie. I really liked it. And then I've been wanting to get this for a while, and every time I see it like come up for sale from a collector or something like that, I'm always tempted to jump on it. It usually goes before I can get to it, but the Return of the Green Goblin, Spider-Man, I have. Oh, I can see it right there. I can't make out the name of it, but I have another tape of this from that same line where I think it was like him facing off with the Daredevil, and then I forgot what the tape was that I have. I don't know if it's with Madam Web, or I forgot exactly which one it is. I really haven't watched that one since I was a kid. But I love this cover. I love the Green Goblin. Just looks so cool. So I wanted to pick it up. And yeah, they have those cool tapes where the top is blue. So that's always neat. Okay, so that's pickups that I had got, and my friend, my very good friend, close friend, that's like an inside joke between us. She lives down in Tennessee, and she was at a thrift store, and there were several tapes there for $1. And she was like, "Oh, are you interested in anything?" And yeah, I was. I only got a couple, but there's some killer picks. Okay, so Superman, the original cartoon, always cool. Wasn't as big on Superman when I was a kid. I never watched the animated series. I preferred the Batman animated series. But I had a bunch of Superman VHS tapes growing up. So and it wasn't even of the 90s show. It was the gosh, what was that? Like the 60s maybe. It was like that Super Friends era. But so I was like, oh, you know, I'm nostalgic for the older Superman animations. So I was like, yeah, it was $1. So I said, yeah, if you don't mind picking it up, that'd be awesome. Then Captain Planet. He's so cool. How could you not? I have a couple Captain Planet tapes. I'm not even sure if I have this one or not, but when you see Captain Planet, you don't leave it on the shelf. So whether I pass this on to someone else or I keep this for my collection, maybe I'll switch out mine because I think my tape was a little bit worn. But super cool. And now the big one, because I always see people looking for this tape within like the collecting community, and I always see it going for like $70. And it's kind of crazy to me to think about tapes going for that much. I guess it's a rarer one, and it's I don't know, I guess a pretty cool tape. So she saw it, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, how much is that? She's like, it's $1. I was like, get that tape. I was like, don't even get it for me. I was like, get it for yourself and sell it. But she was nice enough to send it to me. Thank you. So I have Doug, Cool in School. This is like such a sought after tape. I'm not even sure why. I think the Doug tapes are a little bit more in value, but this one in particular, I guess because the cover is so cool. I mean, you got the killer orange tape, but it's in really nice condition too, this tape. So I can't believe that. And coincidentally, I was looking at pricing out this tape because someone was calling out this one guy in one of the VHS groups that I'm in, saying that he's way overpriced. And one of the things he was overpriced on was this Doug tape. And you look through all like the comps on these tapes that have sold in the past, and what was he at? Like $60-$70, and I don't know, that's what they go for. It's crazy to me too, but that's what people are paying. So yeah, I'm glad I could have that for significantly less. I gotta watch this because it's the cover is really great, right? Like, I'm sitting here talking about it and it's like really growing on me. I guess at one point it came with a free mini chalkboard inside. Says it. It's missing the chalkboard, so maybe it's not worth as much now. I doubt the other ones come with the chalkboard either. But super cool. I'm really excited for this one. And thanks, Alexi. That was awesome find. So that was one of the rare tapes I picked up, and then there's one more, and these tapes are so rare that you can barely find any pictures of them online even. And again, coincidentally, I put out a post in the community, and I was like, hey guys, I know it's a long shot, but does anyone here have any of the Creepy Crawlers VHS tapes of the animated series from, what was it, 93, I think? And there was one guy who was like, I do, and I'm willing to trade if you want to. So I was like, oh cool. I was like, let me see what do you have? And I was like, hey man, that's awesome that you have them, first of all. And what what do you value one of the tapes at? What do you want to trade for? What are you interested in? And he had, I don't know how many releases there were, but it seems like he has all of them. He had 5, and I've only ever seen the cover of 1, maybe 2, and he had all of them. So that was awesome to see. And so he was like, oh, I'm not really I don't really have a price on them. I collect really rare VHS tapes. I'm interested in kid stuff. I think he said like Disney, Nickelodeon, things like that. And he's like, what's a rare tape that you have that we could trade for? And I was looking around because I was really interested in picking up a Creepy Crawlers tape. I have like a weird affinity for it. I'm gonna do a video on the history of Creepy Crawlers. I bought the Magic Maker, the 93 version, and I've been doing like a deep dive into the company's history. Really interesting, starting out with Mattel, and then Toymax came in when Mattel let the trademarks expire. Big mistake, and they picked up a bunch of trademarks, and the rest is history. It doesn't even belong to Toymax. They someone else had it by the 2000s. I forgot who, but Toymax is another company that I really want to do a long video on, because a lot of their toys from back in the day were, in my opinion, incredible. They had some really cool stuff. So, Creepy Crawlers being one of them. Incredible Edibles is back there behind me on the shelf. Some really cool things that they did. And I am a huge fan of theirs. I had a ton of their toys. So, yeah, I want to do a big expose on them. But that'll have to come later on. But, so, anyway, I was like, yeah, man, like I don't really have anything rare that honestly I feel would even be worth it. One thing I thought of like after the fact was maybe my Tales from the Crypt animated series tape, but even that, I mean, I don't think it's that rare. You can go on eBay and buy them. So I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I don't know. Like, if you want to put a price on them, I'll buy it. But honestly, I don't think I have anything that would be worth your time. So that's where it ended. And I would keep like scrolling through online for the next few days, just trying to find something. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Let me set up an eBay alert, because you can like get notifications whenever something is posted that matches your like search criteria. So I set that up, and most of the Creepy Crawler VHS tapes, there's some some live action thing with where there's bugs crawling over this guy's face, and then there's also this like educational VHS tape, and obviously not the stuff I'm looking for. But I said, you know what, I'll set up an alert. If it ever does come up, then maybe I'll get notified. I'll get the jump on it before anyone else, and we'll see what happens. So surely enough, it was only a couple days later, maybe a week later, and I got a notification that there was a new Creepy Crawler VHS tape alert. And I've been getting the alerts day after day, where it's like, oh, new tape, and it's again one of the two tapes that I already mentioned, not the one I'm looking for. So you're always kind of hopeful when you get an alert. So, many times open it up, disappointed, not what I'm looking for. But this time, I opened it up, and lo and behold, it was a VHS creepy crawler animated series tape. And it's so funny that I'm so excited about it. But I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. So the unbelievable thing was that they're so hard to come across, and they were asking only $30, and I think there was like a best offer, and I was tempted to like shoot him an offer like, hey, how about $20? Would you do 20? And I was like, don't let this pass up. Don't let this opportunity slip away. So I ended up buying Creepy Crawlers, the VHS tape, which it's so weird. I don't know if maybe they do pop up every so often. I've been looking every day since I bought this. Like, it's been like 2-3 weeks now, and I have not seen any listed, so I really don't think they come up that often. I look sporadically for them and I never see it, but yeah, I mean, it's so weird that I was negotiating with this guy to try to pick up this tape from him, and then one gets posted. Maybe it was the guy, I don't know. Maybe he was like, you know what, I was talking about getting rid of him, I'll post one for sale. So really, really cool. This is such a fun series. There's not a lot of archived footage of it. I think there's like 3 episodes on archive.org if you guys are interested and want to watch it. But it's really, really an interesting show, in my opinion. They had a toy line to support it and everything. Obviously the creepy crawler magic maker. And then they did this thing where you would get the figures and it would come with a mold for your creepy crawler oven, and then you can make accessories for the figure and everything like that. I was like, that's so cool. But again, it's like, such a fun idea, kind of like this gross out, disgusting boy toy items, and it, these like weird, like nutty things are just kind of, I gravitate towards them, especially some of the more horror themed properties. And this tape, what makes it even cooler is that it's a screener tape. So this went out to, I don't know, probably video stores and toy stores, trying to get everyone excited about this new series coming out. So really cool. It's I'm trying to read the back now. Yeah, there's like an order date, and suggested retail price was $12.95. I got ripped off. Really, really cool stuff. There's something about this animation and these colors from this era that just resonates with me so much. I don't know if it's because I grew up during this time and it just hits home, or it's something beyond that. I think it's something beyond that, and there's, I don't know, I don't really know how to describe it. It's you see these old cartoons like this or DuckTales or something like that. Something with the animation, the color palette of the 90's. It still holds up and looks good. And a lot of like the later stuff that like relied on CGI, it's hard to go back and look at that stuff. I was watching Beast Wars. I had got a VHS tape of that, and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, the animation is kind of, it doesn't age well. I mean, same thing with like But Ugly Martians. That show looked awful at the time, and it looks even worse now. So shows like that, it's harder for me to go back and watch them, but the actual animated shows, 2D animation, I don't know, there's just something that feels so right about that. So that's what I got. That's my some of my recent pickups. Two rare tapes, bucket list tapes for me. Doug, Too Cool for School, and Creepy Crawlers. Awesome. So moving on, I'm subscribed to Video Game Monthly, and I always see people posting videos online like, oh, I'm gonna unbox what I got for this month and everything like that. And there are some cool tapes in there, but honestly, nothing that I feel ever too. Sorry, guys. Okay, nothing that I feel ever too exciting. For me, I'm kind of like weird, and like when I got the Burger King games in one month, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. I love fast food stuff like that. I collect the Taco Bell video games as well, the PC games. But yeah, it's like nothing ever too exciting. I don't update my list either, so I've gotten, I don't know, 20 copies of any one particular game, so it's always interesting because occasionally like I'll get a game that I really wanted. Like I got Obi-Wan for the Xbox, and I know again, like not a lot of people love that game, but it's a game that I didn't have and I always wanted it, and I thought that was cool that it was in there 1 month. The Clone Wars game, I had wanted that came in 1 month. So I don't want it to seem like I'm bashing them, but nothing. And like I said, I don't maintain the list. You have to check off the games that you have, and then they periodically go through and send you something that you didn't get already. But there's some cool stuff. I've been getting more into Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, really for my niece and nephew, because I made Game Boys for them. I bought two GBAs, and we took it apart together and did an IPS screen and reshelled it and everything like that. And so I'll get usually a lot of Game Boy games with these boxes, and usually I pull out the games and give them to the kids, let them enjoy it. It's funny too because I could set up an SD cartridge for them with every Game Boy game, every Game Boy Color game, every Game Boy Advance game, NES games, and I don't do that. I feel like they need to experience going to the store and getting the cartridges, or having the cartridges passed down to you, and like playing the games and going through them and actually enjoying it. That was part of the whole fun with these games growing up, these consoles. Seeing the new game, saving up for it, going to the store, getting it, feeling that excitement, looking through everything, like, oh, what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? So I'll do that. I think last time I had them, we went to Retro Source and picked up some games and that was fun. Really awesome store over there. Love those guys. And yeah, so I have a couple games sitting over there that I'll probably give to them, and I'm sure probably a few games in this. So yeah, that's why I do that. I think when you're giving everything, it means less. I want them to kind of start off getting one game at a time and enjoying it, and then moving on, and doing it that way, because I think it puts more of a value on it. I sent one of my friends, his son, he wanted to get a Game Boy for him so he can play it on the bus, and I had gotten a few Game Boy Colors. I was like, hey man, I got you, I'll send this up to you. And I set him up with one of those cartridges with the SD cards in it, loaded with a bunch of games. And he was like, oh man, this thing is awesome. But I'll be honest, it's like kind of overwhelming for him to kind of go through and see all these games, and he doesn't really understand navigating it and everything like that. He's younger, so that's definitely part of my reason why I wanted to do that. was because I think, when kids are giving everything, they could stream anything, download any game they want online at any time. Let's slow things down. Let's actually play these, with real hardware and kind of experience it like that. I think it makes for a more enjoyable and memorable time. So that's why I'm doing that. But let's get into this box and see what I got. So open this up. Cool. So what's this? Got some Mario Kart collector pins. Each pack contains one randomly selected pin. That's kind of cool. They always throw in... Oh, I guess that's what they look like, the pins on the back. You guys can see it. You probably can't really see it. These are pretty cool. They always throw in like something like that. Got trading cards, I think, before from them, and always something fun. I think like Zelda money or Pokemon money, things like that. We hope you enjoy your latest box. Win 3 games. Post your box to social media for a chance to win 3 free games in your next box. Cool. So like I said, some Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. So Finding Nemo for the Game Boy Advance. I don't know if I gave this game to my niece yet or not. I gotta ask her and see. But that'll be fun for them, Finding Nemo. And then Championship Pool for the Game Boy. I do have a really small collection of Game Boy games, so I think this might be one that stays with me. Going through Devil May Cry. That's pretty solid. I don't have that game. I have 2, I think I have 3, and I think I have 4, but I don't have this game. So that's awesome. I'm trying to look. Yeah, I don't see it on my shelf up over there. Do I? No. Yeah, no, I don't have it. So cool, that's awesome. So got a game I don't have, and it's a good game too. And it was from Blockbuster. Cool. Where I can't tell. April 2nd, 2002. That goes back a ways. Yeah, you got the property of Blockbuster. Surprised that the case manual is still there, rather. Surprising, right? That stuff always gets lost. Cool. It was $29.99 when it was sold. Nice. Some loose games. Looks like another Blockbuster X rental, a loose disc. Gran Turismo 3 and Real Fishing for the PS1 loose. I have this. I got that from them before, but not a bad box. Devil May Cry, good game. I have these games, and there's another Game Boy Advance game in here. Battle for Bikini Bottom, good game. And was it Nicktoons Freeze Frame Frenzy? I don't know what that is, but I know SpongeBob is pretty good. Nice. So that's pretty decent. The loose games kind of kill me, because it's never like anything that you really care about. Like this fishing PS1 game, I've got that from them a couple times, and it's my own fault. I don't update the list. I keep saying it. But that's a decent haul from them. That's not bad. So nice. What other things did I pick up? I got I don't know if you guys could see it tucked away over there. That Dreamcast keyboard. We've been playing around with that the last couple of days. That's been really fun. Surprising how much fun it is. Playing mainly Typing of the Dead, and it like House of the Dead 2 was already a good game, and I think Typing of the Dead is even more enjoyable. As crazy as that sounds, it's really fun. And I was talking to someone, I think on YouTube, they had left a comment, and they're like, the thing about these Dreamcast typing games is that now typing is like second nature, and it's not as challenging as when we were younger and kids, and computers weren't part of your everyday life, right? Like when that game came out, like you couldn't be on the phone and on the internet at the same time. Now, but back then, like, and I think most people, and I know my family did, we had it like a closet where the computer was set up, and you're off tucked away in this little cubby, and you barely have the internet at that point. At least I didn't. It wasn't until later on, like getting into the mid 2000s, that for us the internet kind of became like a regular thing. Not something that was this big production to get onto. And so going from that to comparing it today, where your phone is more powerful than a computer you were using in the 90's, and typing, it's everyone does it nowadays. So it's it is a different experience, right? Because it's not as challenging, it's not as new to you, but it's still really really enjoyable. But I thought that was really interesting that he brought that up, because it was a good point. I hadn't really considered it. That would have been a better topic for my video, rather than the one I did where I just talked about the keyboard and Sega being weird and kooky. Yeah, man, I love Sega from that time period. So many cool things. They were doing a bunch of innovative stuff in the arcades, and all these like really cool things. I'm actually, I don't want to go too far into it, because I want to talk about it as a later topic, some of Sega stuff. But some really cool things. Really, they were like the first one to do the Mario Kart, was it live, or live circuit, or whatever it's called. They were doing that back in the 90's with I forgot the game that they had it set up for, but you would sit at an arcade cabinet, and there was this giant track with RC cars, and you just race the cars around the track in real time with these cameras strapped on the top of the RC cars. Like really cool things like that, and real Miatas that you sit in in an arcade, and God, it's like these really really wacky ideas. Even I did a video on it. They're like 4D arcades that are like these massive rooms that you go into, and what was the one I did? It must have been House of the Dead. Was it House of the Dead 3, I think? But you go in, you sit in a cart, and it vibrates. The guns are vibrating as you're shooting. It's blowing wind in your face, and you're like strapped in. So you're shooting at the screen, and then it quickly whips you around to turn like behind you to shoot at the things that are approaching. They did like a bunch of stuff like that all the time. There might not have been a ton of it, but there was a lot of examples like that. They did that with the Lost World, the special edition. These massive units where it looked like the trailer from the movie, and you go into them, and it was like a modified version of the arcade game that we all know, but like motion control and everything like that. It's like really cool stuff, and in the 90's, I mean, that's pretty impressive. if you go back even further, Afterburner, so the list goes on. I'm always really impressed by Sega, when you look through their history, and always kind of too far ahead of their time, or like a little too ambitious, because Mario Kart Home Live Circuit, whatever it's called, that works seamlessly now. Back then, I think they were using like, I don't know, what was it, like CCTV or something, and these old analog cameras and everything like that, and it's it's a great idea, but they're ahead of the technology, and it's a shame. I don't think they get enough recognition for all the things that they've attempted and done with their consoles and arcades, and just everything over the years. So I want to do like a deep dive into some of their more like bizarre arcades. There's quite a few that never made it over to the US, and they're these really bizarre titles, and but sound really fun from what I read. But yeah, that'll be a story for another day. Speaking of arcades, though, I've been buying a few different arcade boards. I've been posting pictures while I'm working on them, and I got ripped off, I think. I don't know how many people are familiar with the Jurassic Park 3 arcade, made by Konami. I wasn't familiar with it. I guess it came out 2001. I never even saw one in person. I've seen them now that I've looked for it. They pop up every so often online. Usually dead, because the way Konami built the boards, there's the RTC chip, and from my understanding, it's backed up on a battery, and then once the battery dies, it wipes out all the code on the chip, and then you can't play anything. And the chip, you have to desolder the chip and replace it and write new code to it. What some people were doing were dremeling the top of the chip to get to the battery, and then replacing it that way. So this Jurassic Park 3 board came up for auction. It was a Jamma board, and the guy listed it on eBay, and I saw it. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was thinking about doing a Jamma cabinet for shooting arcades, and I was like, oh, I could do that. Area 51, which I picked that board up as well. It's like, oh, I could have my Area 51 set up, and then since that's Jamma, you just unplug that. I could put in Jurassic Park 3. I could put in this game, that game, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'll take a chance. I'll throw it on. Worst case scenario, it's the RTC chip, and I'll cut the thing open, try to replace it. If that doesn't work out, I'll see if someone can get me a replacement chip. So I bid on it. No one else threw any bids on it. I won it, and the thing about it that made it's so stupid now in hindsight, but the thing about it, why I bid on it, the guy was like, it's untested. It's really untested. I'm not like other sellers where they say it's tested, but it's not really tested. And he was like really emphasizing that this thing is really untested. And there's this joke that I always think about. It's from the Coin Rejects podcast. Great podcast. I have their stickers up on my wall. Jordan sent me some stickers, and I think like a trading card of him from Walter Day. But I had incidentally bought some Road Blaster stuff off of him, the Atari System one. He sent me the marquee, control panel, pedal, and how did it come up? Oh yeah, I was like, oh, I'll send you the label for it, so you don't have to pay for it. And I was like, oh, I just need your, your full address so I can make up the label. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's name is Jordan Barth. And I was like, oh, like coming to you live from the Barthcade. And he was like, oh yeah, that's me. So he threw in some of the coin reject stuff. But yeah, back when Brandon was on the podcast, he had this funny quote, and I always say it whenever I see people say it's untested. He said, oh, the board is untested because I plugged it in and it didn't work. It's like, untested is the assumption that, it could work, or, it might not work. I didn't try it. Most people in the hobby, it seems like they try to see if it works, and then they say, oh, well, it didn't work, it's untested. So always kind of be wary of that. But anyway, I bought this thing. Let me get it out. Just set this back. So this is what a Jurassic Park 3 can't really fit it in. Jurassic Park 3 PCB looks like. You have your Jamma connectors over here. You plug it in, and your game gets the power, sends out the video, everything. And yeah, there's over here there's a hard drive that plugs in, and yeah. So no, not over there. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Area 51. This is it runs off of this what are they called, flash drives or whatever, runs off of this here. So I picked this up, and I was trying to test it out, see what's going on with it, see what's going on with it. And let me just throw it back over here. And I couldn't get it to do anything. It wasn't even displaying anything, which is not good. Usually, something should come up. So I was like going through trying to check some things, and I was like, I can't get anything out of this board. And I saw that Ken from I Repair Sega, he worked on my Star Wars trilogy arcade. Actually gave me some help remotely with my Jurassic Park Lost World arcade in the past. But I saw that he has it listed that he works on these boards. So I gave him a call, and I was like, hey man, I got this Jurassic Park 3 board in, and I can't get it to do anything. And he was like, oh yeah, that is odd. I was like, when I got it, I figured that the RTC would be bad, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And he was like, yeah, even if it's bad, you should see something. So I was like, oh, well, that's not good. So he was like, usually what happens, these, the one chip on the board, I forgot what it's called. If it comes loose, it corrodes, and that could be the problem. Once it corrodes, you really can't do anything. But if it's just loose, we could redo the traces and everything like that. So I was trying to take a look. He was like, try running power to the board and everything, trying to press some of the chips down, see if you can get anything out of it. And I wasn't getting anything. So he was like, well, what's the serial number on it? Because maybe I worked on it in the past, and maybe I have some information on it. So that seemed like a long shot, but I gave him the serial number, and lo and behold, he was very familiar with the board. He had worked on it not once but twice. So the first time it was sent in, I forgot what the issue was, but I think at that point he had done the RTC and maybe something else. And then not too long after, maybe like a year or so later, he said the board got sent in to him again. And what he said was that the operator, I guess he was having some kind of issue with the board, or is malfunctioning or something like that. And what they decided to do was keep turning the power up on the power supply until it fried everything on the board. So he gets the board and he's like, yeah, this thing's shot. There's nothing left on here. Ironically, the only good thing is the RTC and the drive on here. So he sends it back to the guy to do whatever with it. Apparently the guy decided to sell it to me. Chances are maybe the guy who owned it passed it on to someone else and didn't tell that guy. The last known spot where Ken said it went to was the spot where it shipped to me from, but you give everyone the benefit of the doubt. It happens, what are you gonna do? So I have a good RTC, I have a good drive, and if this board happens to pop up, or if I buy one of the cabinets, chances are I could switch out this stuff with the appropriate parts, and have a working game. There's a few for sale I saw in Georgia right now, and I don't know if I want to do that right now. Ship that up to me. It's not something that I was like wanting to get another cabinet for. It's something I was interested in if I could just switch it in and out of the cabinet. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it right now. I'm probably going to sit on it for a while. And yeah, I don't know, because the thing is, you can't emulate it, or at least not really right now. That what is it, the Konami Viper system, I think it's called. So they're not really you can like run it the attract mode and see it, but I've never played it. I'm really interested to see how it plays. It looks interesting, but yeah, I'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, this board isn't going to work out for me. All right, so I'm just like looking through my list over here. Probably going to cut a few things out because we're already like stretching out a lot further than I thought. So I want to talk about some summer stuff, because we're in June now, and I was trying to get some like fun things to do with my niece and nephew for summer, and I was looking at pool floats and things like that, and I was thinking about like the pool floats from my day, and I remember like back when I was a kid, it was probably a mistake. My parents probably regretted it, but we had got a big inflatable like island with a palm tree coming out of it and like a banana, and what we all ended up doing was making a game out of who can stay on the float the longest, and beating the crud out of each other to be the last one standing. So so it was a lot of roughhousing in the pool, which would definitely make me nervous as a parent. I know it made my parents nervous. We got a little rowdy sometimes. Probably did a lot of things that we shouldn't have. And drop kicking each other off of a pool float is probably something you shouldn't do. But I was trying to like look for like a big float or something like that for my niece and nephew, and I couldn't find anything, like nothing really that I remember like what we had. So I was like, maybe they stopped making things like that because they don't want kids, playing King of the Castle and beating the heck out of each other. So while I was looking, like, I just started thinking about some of like the pool floats that I wanted when I was a kid, and I remember they had came out with a line of Star Wars pool floats. This was like right around the release of The Phantom Menace. We got hit with a ton of merchandise regarding The Phantom Menace. That's still like one of the number one requested videos that I get. People are like, you gotta talk about The Phantom Menace. And I have so many memories about it. It's like I don't even know where to start. But for now, let's talk about pool floats. So there were a couple cool things. I just wanted to talk about it briefly and kind of highlight some things that I thought were cool. I did want to give an honorable mention to this Jar Jar Binks pool float. It's a 2-person float, and it's like Jar Jar with his arms back and feet kicked up. And there's like two holes in the middle where you guys sit, and it's really funny. I thought it was funny, at least. And then there's Darth Maul pool float snow tube, and you sit right on Darth Maul's face. So it's funny. Back I assume they still do it, but companies, whatever was the hot new thing out, they're like, hey, can we license this and put Darth Maul on this pool float, even if it doesn't make sense. It does kind of look cool. I saw recently there was like a Ninja Turtles shooting game, and I was like, I don't remember Donatello wielding 9mm, right? Like, there's always like stuff like that where it just doesn't make sense. But it's fun regardless. So, but these are some of the pool floats that I remember that I really wanted as a kid. So the first one I actually did have, and it was the X34 Landspeeder pool float. I absolutely loved this thing. I thought it was the coolest thing. I have a home video, and you can like briefly see it off to the side.
Hey, don't get the camera wet. Oh God, I said don't get the camera wet. What does he do?
Yeah.
It's just so cool. I mean, the X34 is one of like the coolest ships, or craft, whatever you want to call it, from the Star Wars universe. I talked about a video in another video how I had bought the X34, the fiberglass body, life size of it. It was a whole big thing, but yeah. So the X34, I have a long history of loving it, going back from when I was a kid, and I remember we had moved, and it probably got thrown out, and I asked my parents, I was like, whatever happened to that thing? I was like, I would really like to have that. And they're like, oh yeah, no, I don't know. Are you sure you had it? that always seems to be like the go-to thing when like they know they screwed up. It's like, are you sure? I don't remember that. There was this one Power Wheels kind of thing that I remember had gotten passed down to me, and it was this giant robot. And I remember, like, as a kid, I was like, hey, don't I have like a robot you could ride on or something? And they're like, no, I don't think so. I was like, they're like, you're probably talking about your like little toy robot action figure. And I was like, no, like, I remember riding on this. And then like years later, there was a home video of me on the robot. I was like, I told you. I was like, you guys tried to gaslight me into believing that I never had this thing. And, lo and behold, I finally had the proof. But this X34, so cool. I think any kid would love to have that. And just kind of like play in the pool and cruise around. Of course, now they have actual Power Wheels of the X34. So I am jealous of that. If I had that as a kid, that would have just blown my mind, because Star Wars was such a huge part of my life. And you know, I was a good age when the Phantom Menace came out. I was already sold on all the hype that you know, they were doing leading up to the release. You know, the new toys came out, Power of the Force, and you know, we got the re-releases of the home movies and everything like that. So I was super into it. And then Phantom Menace came out and it blew my mind. I know, like, everyone loves to hate on it, but I really enjoy it. I like that movie more than any of the prequels. I think Attack of the Clones is awful, in hindsight. And you know, Revenge of the Sith is it's good, you know, it's fine. It, you know, it just doesn't really do much for me. I know everyone is like, oh, but you know, what about that final fight? What about the final fight? I was like, it doesn't do anything for me though. You know, Phantom Menace for me, I think story-wise, it is the most engaging, even if you know, the acting, you know, might not be the best. I just really like the story. I like the designs of everything in episode 1. Darth Maul, it's awesome. You know, it's, you know, I'm probably blinded by nostalgia, but Phantom Menace, by far my favorite out of the prequels. Next one, the N1 N1 Naboo Starfighter. This is such a cool ride-on. You have like the little R2-D2 in the back, and you know, where the blasters are on the front of it, or where the handles are. So, you know, it makes sense for that to be set up like that. You know, the the proportions are a little odd looking, but you know, so cool. I you know, it's another thing that, you know, I wish I had as a kid, because the N1 is one of my favorite ships in the Star Wars world. It really, all of like the Naboo stuff I thought is really, really gorgeous. The city of Theed, just everything coming out of Phantom Menace, I thought was top tier. Obviously, like X-34, or not X-34, the X-Wing, you know, it's hard to beat the X-Wing. It's such a cool ship, but the N1 is really, really a nice design. And you know, there's the other ships. Was it like the Y-Wing, or you know, the B-Wing, those other guys. But moving on, so you have the your N1 Starfighter, and then you also have the droid Starfighter, which is cool. I like that they did that. They got the some love for the Trade Federation in there, and a lot of these come with like they show it on the back where you can like mount them to the ceiling and things like that, because they kind of anticipated, I guess, you know, grown-ups buying them to display this stuff. And Frito-Lay's, I know they did a ton of displays that they gave away in their giveaways, and it's like, oh yeah, inflate it, hang it from the ceiling, or you know, have it out on display. Sticking with the Trade Federation, this isn't, I mean, technically a pool float. It looks like it's like a kiddie pool, but it's an inflatable Trade Federation control ship, which I thought, how cool is that? I mean, they really made like everything for this movie. They went all in on the marketing, and this is cool. I just wanted to like shout it out quick, because you know, you don't anticipate the droid control ship being such a large focus for the merchandising, but you know, here we are. It's pretty cool. It looks like there's like a little fountain in the middle. So yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning. But circling back to the pool floats, the Tri Bubble Bongo Gungan sub. I really loved the design of the ship as a kid. There's a bunch of like deleted scenes with they actually made the ship. It's not CGI. There's like a whole waterfall scene where the sub is going off of a cliff, and you know, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Jar Jar have to escape from the boat. It's really cool, but I thought this was really cool. I always loved the design of it, and like looking at the picture of it with like the kid inside, it's you know, I think it would have been way too small for me even as a kid by the time this came out, but still cool. Again, it's like they like really went into like these deep cuts with the Trade Federation droid controller ship, the Gungan sub, right? Like it's really funny to see like just they decided to make a product for everything. And you know, one of the cooler things to come out from the Phantom Menace is you know, the pod racing, and they did a pool float for that as well. This pod racing float, I don't think it's one of the better designs. It's so hard to do the anything with the pod racing because, you know, the two engines aren't even connected to anything. They levitate, but they have these transparent inflatable tubes, so that's kind of cool that they tied it in. But then you kind of just lay back on this float. It's cool that they were able to make it work. So I thought that was cool. And then last thing I want to shout out was the Millennium Falcon. They actually did make one recently, but this was the one that came out you know, back in the 90s, probably early 2000s. It was floating around, literally floating around. So I thought that was cool, worth showcasing. I mean, who doesn't love the Millennium Falcon? Yeah, so that's some of the Star Wars pool floats. Just some cool stuff. I love the Star Wars history from this time. So anytime I have an excuse to talk about it, I am absolutely going to talk about it. All right, guys. So real quick before we wrap it up, I have one more thing I want to talk about, and that is Super Soakers. Like I said, we're coming into the summer now, and you know, what is a summer season without a water fight? What's a water fight without Super Soakers? So I went through the history of Super Soakers, pulled out some of the ones I remember, just want to highlight a few of them and kind of dive into this topic and yeah, just have some fun. It's summer, you know, it's finally here. You know, I wait for it all year. And I was looking for something, like I said, something to do with my niece and nephew. And I was like, oh, last time my nephew was here, we went to the thrift store and they had some Super Soakers and we bought a couple of them. And it was too cold to do it now to do it then. And you know, my nephew was a little disappointed that we didn't get to. It's like, you know, 40 degrees outside. And I was like, you know, next time, bud, you know, we'll do it in the summer. So I was like, oh, I should look and see, you know, pick up another Super Soaker, you know, get something else for the kids to do. I think we bought like 3 guns or something like that. And I was like, well, just grab, you know, see what else I could get. So I was looking through all the Super Soakers that are out now, and I was like, none of them are really doing it for me. I was like, let me go back and kind of look at some of the ones that I remember. So then I started going through a list of all the Super Soakers from the 90s, and I was like, man, I gotta do like a list of Super Soakers. So there's it's not really ranked in any particular order, but I just did a little write-up on the Super Soakers. So let's just dive into this quick. Perhaps one of the most iconic toys of summer is the Super Soaker, and although only released in 1991, it's hard to imagine a summer without them. Everything in the 90s became extreme, and the Super Soaker reflected this attitude in both name and design. Originally conceived by Lonnie Johnson in 1982, it wasn't until 1989 that the company Laramie would hear his pitch for the toy and partner with Lonnie to release the Power Drencher in 1990. It wasn't until the following year that the product would be rebranded as the toy we all know today, the Super Soaker. The design of the original Super Soaker, the Super Soaker 50, with its yellow, green, and orange colors, could be regarded as a milestone for children's toys and would change the water game market forever. Though we all loved the Super Soaker 50, I wanted to highlight some of my favorite Super Soakers throughout the years. Following the original line of the Super Soakers, the XP line would be released in 1994 and would feature one of my favorite blasters, the XP 105. The 105 would feature a teal base with these bulbous purple canisters on top of the unit, which provided more than adequate storage for ammo, well, water. On the side of the unit, there was a pressure gauge that indicated the PSI, which was useful as not to overpump the gun and cause it to break. The font displayed with the XP models was more stylized in comparison to the product line before it, whereas the blocky text that carried over from the 80s was being left behind for a more sort of graffiti-esque freehand brush script. It perfectly captured the changing attitudes and marketing approach that was upheld through the remainder of the 90s. This was the Super Soaker I remember the most, as it's the one I had as a kid and I still use it today. Following the XP line, the CPS, or Constant Pressure System line of Super Soakers would be released in 1996 and feature some of the biggest Super Soakers produced at the time. In particular, the CPS 3000 was quite an impressive model, and at that time likely measured half the size of me comparatively. It was truly a massive water gun with a water reservoir in the form of a backpack which held 2 gallons of water. It also featured 4 different spray modes through the rotating barrel, allowing you to choose from ejecting 5 times the amount of water, 10 times, 20 times, and a typhoon blast. The CPS system was designed so that while the water was spraying, the user would have a constant stream, never faltering. Like the XP models before it, the 3000 had a pressure gauge that indicated the level of pressure in your blaster, and while I would love to own one of these to dominate, a new in-box unit on eBay is listed for $600 with $150 added on top of that for shipping. I mean, remember, this thing is massive, and I just can't imagine spending that much money on a water gun. But really cool, and would be cool to own one day for the right price. Following the CPS line of Super Soakers, the Supercharger series was released just at the end of the 90s in 1999. The Supercharger series was similar to that of the CPS with a few upgrades like the Quick Fill device, or QFD. The QFD was an accessory that allowed you to fill your Super Soakers at a faster than normal rate by attaching the QFD to your guarding hose, then inserting your blaster into the QFD. Out of the Supercharger series, the one model that stood out to me the most was the Power Pack. Much like the CPS 3000, it featured a backpack-like storage unit which would hold your water and display your water level on the back of the pack. Though significantly smaller than the 3000, it too features 4 different nozzle settings including 3x, 10x, a sweep stream, and a saturator mode. Filling of the power pack actually requires the QFD, and it can't be done without it, so the drawback was that when the QFD broke, which they were known to do, the gun can't be filled. Moving on from the 90s, at the start of the 2000s, we started seeing the aesthetics of products begin to change and start reflecting that new millennial look, which in my opinion hasn't aged well in comparison to the style of the 90s. That being said, companies began to rebrand and release products to reflect this shift in the marketplace, and as such came a new line of Super Soakers called the Monster series. Only featuring 3 products in the product line and being in production for a mere 2 years, the package retired the bright and fun colors of the 90s for a darker tone, utilizing black tones and gray symmetrical bar lines to perhaps illustrate a futuristic feel. The toys in the series all featured chrome-like accents on the blasters, which was common during this time period as companies were trying to emulate a high-tech look. Unfortunately, I found that many companies who fell victim to this trope designed products that looked more like parodies of innovation rather than the new age look that they aimed for. Though these may be the Jason X of Super Soakers, the Monster X from the series is a well-equipped blaster. Being touted as the largest blaster of its time, it has dual barrels with multiple nozzle settings including 5x, 10x, 11.5x, why the half? Power Burst, Typhoon Blast, and Aqua Storm. A bipod folds out to steadier aim and has a capacity of 1.25 gallons of water. That's almost 9 pounds of water. Can you imagine holding that? As an added option, you can fill the blaster with the included QFD, now with chrome accents, though the water tank can be filled manually as well. The design is not my style per se, but it certainly is one of the best equipped cannons for water warfare. So guys, that's all I got. Tell me, what was your favorite Super Soaker that you guys had as a kid? Is there any that you guys would still like to have today? That CPS 3000 is pretty awesome. But I'm telling you, the XP105, it's lightweight, holds a lot of water, and shoots a great stream. So guys, that's all I got. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good summer. Hopefully I'll get around to doing another one of these before summer ends. Yeah, so I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.